Good morning. We begin in Anchorage, Alaska, where a high-stakes summit between U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin concluded yesterday with expressions of hope, but no definitive breakthrough in the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict. After approximately 3 hours of direct talks, the two leaders emerged to address the press, offering differing tones on the outcome. President Putin, speaking first, described the meeting as a productive starting point, not only for resolving the conflict in Ukraine, which has now stretched for 3.5 years, but also for bringing back, in his words, businesslike and pragmatic relations between Moscow and Washington. He expressed hope that the agreements reached in principle would pave the path toward peace in Europe. President Trump, however, was more measured in his assessment. He stressed that he would need to consult with NATO allies and with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelenskyy before any agreement could be finalized. In a key statement, President Trump remarked, "There's no deal until there's a deal," signaling that while progress was made, a concrete, actionable plan to implement a ceasefire remains elusive. The summit ended without any firm commitments on that front. Back in Washington, reaction to the summit is breaking down largely along predictable party lines. Many Republicans are voicing cautious optimism, commending the president for engaging in direct diplomacy with a major adversary. They see the dialogue itself as a positive step. Democrats, on the other hand, are expressing strong criticism. They argue that the summit provided a platform of legitimacy for President Putin without extracting any tangible concessions from Russia. Concerns have been raised that Russia gained more from the conference in terms of international standing than it gave up in terms of commitments to de-escalate the conflict in Ukraine. The lack of specific details about the potential deal has fueled speculation and debate on Capitol Hill, with lawmakers from both parties eager for a more detailed briefing from the administration on what exactly was discussed behind closed doors in Anchorage. From the international stage, we turn to significant legal battles unfolding here in the United States. The Trump administration has secured a major victory in its long-running effort to reshape the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, or CFPB. On Friday, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit sided with the administration, lifting a lower court's injunction that had blocked sweeping staff cuts at the consumer watchdog agency. The CFPB was established in the wake of the 2008 financial crisis, with a broad mandate to protect American consumers from predatory lending and other harmful financial practices. The administration has long argued the agency is an example of federal overreach and has sought to curtail its power. The legal challenge was brought by the National Treasury Employees Union, which represents CFPB staff. In April, U.S. District Judge Amy Berman Jackson had issued a preliminary injunction, finding that the administration was engaged in an unlawful effort to dismantle and eliminate the agency. However, the appeals court, in a 2-1 decision, vacated that order. The majority opinion stated that the employment-related claims brought by the union must be handled through established federal labor relations channels, not through this type of court action. The ruling gives the White House wide latitude to proceed with its plans to remake the agency through staffing changes, a move that critics fear will weaken consumer protections, while supporters argue it will reduce burdensome regulations. The judiciary also weighed in on another contentious issue involving the administration, this time concerning law enforcement in the nation's capital. A federal judge has temporarily blocked the Justice Department's attempt to assume control of the Washington, D.C. Police Department. The move came after the district sued the federal government over an order that would have placed the city's police force under the authority of a newly created emergency commissioner. During a hearing on Friday, U.S. District Judge Ana Reyes expressed serious doubts about the legality of the order. She gave the Justice Department a 45-minute window to rewrite the problematic section, but indicated she would issue her own blocking order if necessary. In the interim, Judge Reyes clarified that command of the police department remains firmly with the city's police chief, not the proposed federal commissioner. This ruling is a temporary measure, and another hearing on the matter is expected next week. The case highlights the unique and often tense relationship between the local D.C. government and the federal government. which retains ultimate authority over the district. The Justice Department's attorney agreed to rewrite the order, but the underlying constitutional questions about the scope of federal power over the city's local affairs remain unresolved. Finally, a federal judge in Maryland has delivered a significant blow to the administration's education policy. On Thursday, the judge struck down a U.S. Department of Education directive from February that aimed to eliminate diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI, programs at schools and universities across the country. The directive was issued in a Dear Colleague letter sent to education departments in all 50 states. It criticized what it called overt and covert racial discrimination occurring under the banner of DEI policies. The letter warned that educational institutions failing to comply with the new anti-DEI guidance could risk losing their federal funding. The ruling from the Maryland judge effectively invalidates that directive, finding it to be an illegal overstep of the department's authority. This decision protects for now the thousands of DEI programs in K-12 schools and universities that rely on federal funds. These programs are designed to promote inclusivity and address what supporters see as systemic inequities in education. However, they have become a flashpoint in a broader national debate, with critics arguing that DEI initiatives can be divisive and lead to new forms of discrimination. The Department of Education has not yet commented on whether it will appeal the ruling,